If you want an insurance company to see your data so you get cheaper insurance, that's up to you. If you have a regulator that wants to make sure that you're flying in the correct zones, that's up to you, not up to someone else. We're really trying to let the owner of the data control that data. Your data is secure and only your data, and you don't have to let anyone ever see it, ever.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 238. Is blockchain the answer to securing drone data? Today's guests believe it is, and they are aggressively moving to offer scalable solutions to the drone industry. My guests are Jeff Thompson, CEO and founder of Red Cat Holdings, and Henry Ines, Chief Operating Officer at GoChain. Red Cat is the leading provider of distributed data storage, analytics, and services for the growing recreational and commercial drone industry. They've created the industry's first black box flight recorder that drone pilots, regulators, and insurance companies can rely on for secure flight data. GoChain is the leading provider of scalable, low-cost blockchain solutions. They have partnered with some of the largest data networks in the world, including AWS, IBM, and Microsoft, and serve clients ranging from innovative, high-impact startups to Fortune 200 companies. Jeff and Henry have a long history of success in their respective fields. Jeff is a serial tech entrepreneur primarily in the telecom space, where he created and led companies from startup to successful exits and IPOs. Henry has more than 20 years' experience as a venture capitalist, global executive, advisor, and as an entrepreneur. Recently, Red Cat announced a partnership with GoChain to integrate its blockchain, black box, and distributed storage system onto the GoChain platform, which will enable Red Cat to immediately and easily deliver its technology to customers with speed and scale. In this edition of the Drone Radio Show, Jeff and Henry talk about Red Cat and GoChain, how blockchain technology secures drone data, and how this technology could answer the critical questions surrounding privacy and security of drone data. But before we hear from Jeff and Henry, I want to thank those of you who are supporting my funding campaign. Now you have the option of making a one-time donation in any amount by going to droneradioshow.com/donate. Whether it's $1, $100, or much more, you can help defray the cost of production and keep the podcast going and growing. And if you'd like to make a monthly contribution, you can still go to patreon.com/droneradioshow. So let's learn how blockchain technology can secure our drone data with Jeff Thompson of Red Cat and Henry Ines of GoChain. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Henry and Jeff to introduce themselves.
This is Henry Ines. I'm the COO of GoChain.
This is Jeff Thompson, and I'm the CEO of Red Cat.
Let's start by having each of you tell us about GoChain and Red Cat. Henry, why don't you start?
GoChain, we are a global technology company, solutions provider. We have developed a highly scalable, very green blockchain protocol and a suite of applications. These applications address a variety of issues and solutions, ranging from decentralized identity, biometric security, stablecoins, tokenization of assets, of course, payments and wallets, all the way to end-to-end supply chain solutions. So we really work with a variety of different customers, and these range from enterprises. These could be startups all the way to Fortune 500 companies and to governments. So our solutions are really enterprise and government-centric, and we'd like to think of ourselves as sort of the partner of choice when it comes to supporting companies and governments undergoing digital modernization and transformation.
And Jeff, tell us about Red Cat.
What Red Cat does is we actually are a analytics company. We take drone data and we give you a place to store that data forever on technologies like the GoChain blockchain, allowing us to replay any flight you've ever had with one of your drones and let you know what happened every second with thousands of data points per second. We can tell you why your drone is flying very well, or we can tell you, similar to what a black box does, why your drone crashed. And with all that data, the key item for us is, which we'll probably discuss quite a bit today, is the drone industry is really starting to, I don't want to use the word explode. That's probably the wrong word to use when you're talking about drones in the air. It's really accelerating. And with the acceleration of new technologies that are doing the stuff that drones are doing, privacy is a huge issue. So you can see where a encryption situation is very crucial. So that's what we do.
Did the company start to directly serve the drone industry, or was it part of some other industry?
It's a native drone company. We haven't done any pivots or anything of that nature. I was asked to work with another company that was a hardware company in the drone industry. And as I was going through the process of doing due diligence on that company that asked me to come work with them, I noticed that the software was a mess in the drone industry. So I started exploring the software part of the drone industry, and then I found what we consider like a black box technology, which there is already some software that does similar things to these, but we realized that the drone industry is going to go through some very big changes, and there's going to be some needs for some very crucial software that's going to get rid of the chicken and the egg with regulators and insurance companies. So it's been a native software company from the start as a drone company.
So tell us about the technology. How does it benefit drone operators?
It's pretty simple. Like right now, drones can record, for instance, in the DJI is the largest drone manufacturer in the world. But when you look at the data that's collected on most DJI drones, it's not in an easy to use place. And it's sometimes in 3 or 4 different locations, depending on which drone you're flying. So none of the information is synced together and very useful for the customer or for the client side. So what we do is we take all this data that's in separate silos and put it together into something that's easy to use. And one of the biggest aspects that actually our technology is starting to be used for right now is for customer service. So that when you have a file that when your drone's not flying properly, we can take all this data, say you're a minute into a flight and you see some weird things happening a minute into your flight, then we can start analyzing what's going on during that time frame that you're experiencing that data. But it's not easy to get all the data off a drone and make it easy to use, and that's something that we're getting really good at.
How does it make it easier for operators to access the data?
If you look at it right now, it's recorded onto separate, whether it's on your phone, if you're using a phone to help fly your drone, or if you just have a controller that's dedicated to that drone, some of it gets recorded there. Some of it gets recorded on the drone, and then sometimes the video is recorded on a separate place and just on the video feed. And that's makes it really difficult to sync all these things together. But it's on a local file system right now. But what's interesting is it's all heading towards, for instance, one of our competitors was bought by Verizon almost 2 years ago. That company is called Skyward. They recently announced their first flight that they utilized the 4G network. But one of the big customers of the 5G network is going to be drones. Drones are going to utilize the 5G network for most autonomous flights. So when you have 5G now involved, or even 4G, that flight will be recorded in real time to our blockchain.
What does blockchain give us that we don't already have?
Privacy. People don't realize this, but in the early 1900s, when people started getting used to planes flying above us, they were all concerned that planes were going to spy on us back then. And no one thinks about planes spying on us now. But when a drone flies over someone's house, my neighbors always call and complain, "Is that you, Jeff?" But it's everyone's concerned with privacy with drones right now because they're actually pretty low to the ground compared to an airplane. With cameras these days, an airplane can easily look into your backyard. But people don't see the plane because it's so high above us right now, so they don't think about that anymore. So privacy is a key item on both sides of the drone industry. For the pilot that has a drone that's doing work for, say, a large oil company, and they're looking at pipelines and going up and down a pipeline, that data is crucial. If that drone crashes, the current version without a blockchain encryption system, that data is easily viewable by whoever finds that drone. With us, our goal is to make the drone completely encrypted and that data completely encrypted so that the owner of that data can keep it safe. And or if the drone is actually crashes and no one knows where it is, your data that maybe if they flew over your house is not easily viewable to anyone in the world.
Also, by utilizing the blockchain, you're also able to not rely on a third party. So now you've got a situation where you've got essentially a distributed ledger that enables everyone within that system, at least, to be able to have vision on what data is essentially being hashed. And that's going to provide tremendous transparency without reliance on some third-party security service provider that, may have particular control over that database or that data. So I think disintermediating that middleman is important. And then, of course, I think the very important functionality here is be able to have the traceability and auditability on an immutable ledger. I think that's very critical for Red Cat's use case right now, especially when we're talking about compliance and having the FAA be able to track the drone's trajectory and obviously if they're going into any restricted airspace and things like that.
There's been a lot of discussion in the drone space about the vulnerability of data that is being transmitted by drones, and mostly about data might be going off or being sent to places where the owner doesn't want it to be sent. It's one of the benefits is being able to secure that so it doesn't happen.
I think we're all dancing around the point that certain companies have files sent to countries that people don't want them sent to. And we think that we can actually solve that problem and allow these drones to be used again here, specifically in the US, where no one would have control over that data unless they have the key to open up that data. So, Randy, you're exactly right. The way information is disseminated is not controlled by the client at this point in time. And our goal with GoChain is to give that data control back to the client, no matter who it is. If it's a government, if it's a regulator, if it's an insurance company, if it's a pilot that flies on the weekends for fun, we want them to have the control of their own data.
I think that's really it. At the end of the day, you've got all of this data that's encrypted. And then when you think between the different systems and applications, when you layer that on the blockchain, you've got also very granular data and ID management that will really enable all the parties to be able to have control over who has access to the data. And of course, that's going to be encrypted as well. So that's really going to be at the discretion of the data owner and who's going to have access to the information.
The reason that both of you are on the call today is because Red Cat and GoChain formed a partnership to bring this all about. How did the partnership form?
In early 2017, when we started realizing that how loose data is on drones, a lot of the data is literally a TXT file, very easily edited by any editor in the world. A 7-year-old kid can edit that file, which means that data is completely unreliable. So when I started asking my engineers what we should do, a couple of them mentioned blockchain. And I'm at that point, this was before blockchain went to $19,000. So no one was talking about blockchain. And even though I'm an engineer, I was like, what the heck is blockchain? So I started to do some research and realized that, wow, this is the perfect technology to encrypt our data. It has not been hacked, and the information will be there forever, and it's crucial. And it's the ultimate way to use blockchain in my personal view. And I'm obviously biased, but blockchain is a perfect fit for us to encrypt data. And to go back to Henry's point earlier, you get rid of that third-party person that's holding on to data that no one can trust. We're talking to a ton of potential customers right now, and they all trust blockchain technology. It's amazing how they quickly trust blockchain technology. But you get back to the point of how we partnered with GoChain, is we kept looking at all the different protocols out there and how they scale, transactions per second. Are they looking at enterprise customers? And we narrowed it down to about 4 or 5. And we ended up going with GoChain because of their scale and their enterprise focus.
We're talking about blockchain protocols, and obviously in the beginning, we're talking about Bitcoin and peer-to-peer payments. That was a particular architecture that was good for, particular use case. But as we start talking about driving adoption, especially on the enterprise side, there are some challenges there with Bitcoin, right? And so we've seen obviously lots of different protocols in the market at this juncture. And there's a real sort of tension or struggle among 3 different areas right now. And you're really talking about security, scalability, and the level of decentralization. And so I think with any protocol, these are the 3 areas that we tend to discuss upon. And that was really the genesis for the formation of GoChain, because we had a lot of different protocols that are out there, but they really weren't scalable, or there was a concern about the level of centralization. And so GoChain really hits the sweet spot there because we are, as Jeff mentioned, really enterprise focused. And so We want a protocol that is going to be secure. Of course, everyone that goes without saying, security is the first important aspect. But then it's got to be scalable enough and decentralized enough such that we don't have any particular node having too much control over the network. And so it needs to be able to be redundant and fault tolerant. And so this is how our protocol was developed, and with the mind of supporting governments and enterprises. And for us, looking at really innovative companies that are looking to build out their business and their business model centered around this new decentralized technology, that was really one of the great aspects of forming this partnership, because Red Cat's really a pioneer in the space right now. And that's exactly what we're looking for, to be able to have these pioneers leverage our technology to give them that competitive edge and help to define how the industry is going forward.
Which drone sectors seem to be gravitating more right now to the services that you provide?
Everyone always wants to talk about Amazon deliveries, which obviously there's a huge article about deliveries in the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago. And it was a great article. But when you dig down to people right now, we're looking at the drone service provider groups. One of them that's emerging very rapidly right now is energy, whether it's oil and gas, whether it's wind, solar. All of these things require a lot of review of large areas, or getting up to 200 feet on a wind turbine, which is very dangerous for climbers. So drone service providers, there's lots of groups with pretty large fleets. And that's kind of our focus, is to give them a way to record their flights, to hold those flights in a secure manner, and then go back and review them if they ever need to do that. Now, on top of that, you can also start to see things evolve just by utilizing certain analytics that can give you data on your, like say, for instance, your fleet in New England is doing way better than your fleet down in Houston. And then you find out there's lots of issues on battery sag because of temperature, or certain things of that nature. So as the data becomes larger, it's like a big data play. As you have more and more data, we're starting to realize we can actually solve more problems for the drone industry.
Can you give us an example of some of the problems that might be solved?
In the camera world, when people are utilizing cinematography in the drone industry, you hear a lot about mid-throttle oscillation. And it's kind of like a ghost that no one can ever figure out why it's happening on each drone. And if you're trying to do a smooth photo or video, oscillation is the enemy. I mean, we can boil it right down to 3 or 4 seconds during a flight where you had a problem with your video. We can boil it down to this motor is causing tons of problems in this certain drone, but not that drone. The other key issue that we're really starting to look at is, and I don't want to put out too many buzzwords here, but artificial intelligence on our platform, we think is one of our crucial advantages. And our long-term goal is, if you have a fleet of drones and you're flying a drone and we recognize a problem, everyone always talks about, what do you do when a drone crashes so it doesn't hurt somebody? Our goal is to say, wow, motor number 4 is overheating. You should get the drone on the ground before there's an issue. And we can do that. We can identify that with our platform. And it doesn't help right now when you have to record your flights locally onto memory. But when you're utilizing 4G, like Verizon's done recently, and then 5G, we'll be able to do this in real time and get that drone down on the ground before a problem happens.
It sounds like you'll be able to provide some insights into the flight, so the drone operator can walk away with knowing how well that flight went, or if there's things that need to be fixed or changed, they can make those changes.
That's 100% correct. Just to give you a quick example, we can get 5 to 6% better battery life by making sure you combine the right frame of the drone with the right motor of the drone and the right propeller of the drone. And those are 3 easy, obvious things. But if you think about 5% better battery life, it takes billions of dollars to get about a 1% improvement in battery life. Battery life doesn't double like other technologies. So if you can use the analytics to give yourself just better battery life, you could save a large fleet, millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars a year.
As you look out in today's marketplace and moving into the future, what do you see as some of the challenges in building out this technology to serve the industry?
Well, I think Henry's team is filling one of the large gaps that we saw in the industry. This is a very data-centric space. The drone space, if you look at some of the drone companies, they consider themselves camera companies. And camera companies are huge devourers of bandwidth and data. So utilizing a storage facility that can scale with this huge data play is crucial. And I don't know, Henry, if you want to step on the scale of that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say at this juncture, every industry that we're looking at right now, and this is not just blockchain, this is really sort of a harmony of different technologies bringing to bear right now, but everything is data centric at this juncture, right? I mean, so we're using a combination of blockchain, say IoT, AI, machine learning, big data, all of this is to be harnessed. And to be able to process all this data, I think is really crucial for all businesses at this juncture. So being able to leverage the blockchain to be able to parse out the right data, unlock a lot of these siloed data sets, I think that's just really critical for really all businesses at this juncture. There's different levels of adoption at this point, but at the end of the day, we're seeing tremendous amounts of data flow. And I think the most competitive companies are going to be able to be the ones that harness that data and get all the insights in an efficient manner. They're going to have the edge.
What needs to happen to make some of these opportunities a reality?
There still needs to be a lot of education, I think, around the space. And so even in the boardroom or at the C-level, you still hear a lot of comparison of blockchain to Bitcoin. So there's still a lot that needs to happen in terms of educating the broader markets and decision makers so they understand the true value added leveraging blockchain technology and smart contracts. And then I think the other part of that is that, blockchain isn't the solution for everything either. So it really is identifying how blockchain is going to be used and having these good use cases to really deliver on the KPI or the ROIs that companies are expecting. So yeah, I think there's tremendous amounts of opportunities, certainly on the financial side. So when we're talking about supply chain, we can certainly highlight areas where there are tremendous efficiencies from legacy systems that we can improve upon. When it comes to compliance, I think this is another great area that we can quickly show enterprises that they can leverage blockchain technology to help them to be compliant in a much more efficient manner. And then I think there's some other areas as well that have been really good possibilities. Blockchain is really good when it comes to inclusion and democratization. So there's a real social impact element, I think, when it comes to blockchain. It really is a technology that enables everyone to sort of be a stakeholder in the system. And I think by virtue of the transparency, you also get a layer of consumer engagement that's really not readily available, I think, in some industries now. So yeah, we see tremendous opportunities for leveraging this technology. And, anecdotally, we're seeing a lot of interest now where companies are starting to understand that. And so you see a lot of pilots that are being implemented.
A lot of the stuff that we're working with GoChain right now is for real applications, projects that either we brought to the table or they brought to the table. And they're actually companies that have been around for a long time that are realizing how our technologies we're using together can actually solve real problems that they're trying to solve today. So it's here and now stuff. And I think Henry's 100% right. Once people get over the hump that they realize that blockchain is just another technology, but it's a fantastic technology. It's a scalable technology. It's a distributed technology. It does so much for the world of storage. So once people get over the hump and the hype of blockchain and then they start working on solving real problems, it's been pretty exciting with some of the opportunities that we're pursuing together right now.
And for people that want to use the service, is Red Cat the contact?
If you're a drone service provider, Red Cat is the company, and we utilize it. Like, suppose if we were just using data, we'd have Oracle as our platform, but instead we have GoChain. But they contact us to become a customer.
We mentioned that education and letting people know that this technology is out there and what it can do for them. Jeff, when you're talking to prospective clients, what is it that you say to them, let them know that this is a solution that they should consider?
Well, it depends on what they're trying to solve. And when you look at drone service providers, typically the key item for them is they want their data to be secure and they want no one to be able to take that data. So you get them over that hump very quickly with talking about blockchain and specifically our GoChain solution that we've built and we have up and running today. So secondly, then we actually show them our beta product that we have right now and how it utilizes the blockchain technology. And they understand that, oh gosh, okay, this is how it works. It's up and running now. It works. It's fast. It's easy to use. So that's the key item. And then the third thing is typically, because the commercial drone industry is kind of so new, there might be something that they think that they bring to the table that's brand new that they're looking for someone to help solve that. And that's when we come in if we either do a custom solution, which we're talking to some customers about now, but this platform is very easy for us to put our application on top of, which enables us to iterate very quickly.
Is there anything that we missed that we should talk about?
I just want to encase the whole thing with some of the things that Red Cat's trying to do. We're really trying to let the The owner of the data control that data. When you become a Red Cat client, your data is secure and only your data, and you don't have to let anyone ever see it, ever. Or if you want an insurance company to see your data so you get cheaper insurance, that's up to you. If you have a regulator that wants to make sure that you're flying in the correct zones, that's up to you, not up to someone else.
Just sort of echo Jeff's sentiments is that this is a great use case in working right now with Red Cat, because there are things that we're working on right now. Obviously, we can't discuss in detail. That'll be for another moment. But where we can help companies right now solve some immediate problems, right? And we've got some good applications we're working towards. But then there's been, just through some of our conversations with other clients and prospects, that we've thought about new solutions, actually, that we have believed we can actually bring Red Cat as a partner to introduce as well. So this is such an exciting time, I think, for companies to look at what their challenges are, what are the friction points, and how can you apply new technologies. And that really is, I think boils down to, from our perspective, is that if you're looking at legacy systems and there's pain points there where you can apply new technology and solutions to help to modernize and get through some of those friction points, we're really an excellent partner for that. And then helping to come in there both in sort of tactical near term, and then looking in the long run, how do you phase out, roll in all these different applications and solutions? And we have already a lot of applications already built, ready to be deployed for customers. So this is the kind of circumstances that we're encountering now. And it's, I would say it's a very exciting time in the space. And as we are able to spend time with customers and they start to really understand all the possibilities, they get really excited as well.
Is the service such that a one-man operation can use the service as well as a large enterprise?
Our business model is very similar to like a Dropbox or a traditional storage company, but our total focus is on drone data and analytics. So if you're a one-man shop that does real estate viewings or something, and you want to keep all your files and your videos all synced up in one easy-to-use place, we're your guy. If you have 200 drones, we're your guy. If you have 1 million drones, we're your guy.
And for my final question, what message would you like to leave regarding the use of blockchain technology in the drone industry?
The good news is we're a native blockchain architecture. So we're not going out there and have hundreds of thousands of pilots using our platform and then have to convert to a blockchain architecture. We're starting with a architecture that's based on blockchain.
It's a great time right now. I think everyone sort of describes this period as the so-called fourth industrial revolution. So we have a lot of convergence of technologies and new business models. So it's a great time to take a look at how you can implement new technologies to modernize, to drive efficiencies and even grow top line. And so working with blockchain, again, with other technologies as well, it's a really great time to look at how you can implement a pilot and roll these things out. And so we want to be that partner of choice when it comes to customers that are willing to start to drive this adoption and implementation. And I think when we're talking about, say, the drone industry, this is, again, another really exciting technology that's happening now that's already being deployed in a variety of use cases. And so we want to be that partner of choice when it comes to companies that are looking to get involved and leverage drone technology coupled with blockchains.
That's it for episode 238 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Jeff Thompson of Red Cat and Henry Ines of GoChain. I want to thank Jeff and Henry for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about Red Cat Holdings or want to connect with Jeff, check out the webpage at redcatpropware.com. If you want to connect with Henry and learn about GoChain, go to gochain.io. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1, you can help defray the cost of production. To donate, go to droneradioshow.com/donate or patreon.com/droneradioshow. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.